Not much more I can do to this at the moment. I've just I've done the bits I can do. I think we left this a running bike last week. Let me press the button. Alright, where's the key? I remember it was a bit slow on warm-up last week, but it did warm up beautifully. And it had no rear brake, if I remember rightly. I think the cable's seized. So I think tomorrow my task will be to swap the rear wheels and the rear brake cables across, and then I'll look at what panels are better than others, and we'll build one nice bike and have a spare. Alright. Yes, I think that's the plan here. Let's see if it revs a bit quicker this week, or if it's the same. We definitely have enough parts to build one nice bike here. I mean, we have a seat there. I don't know what the seat's like. There's this. I quite like the plainness of this, the white and grey. Idle's a bit low there. Look. So yeah, I think tomorrow I'll be able to create one good bike out of these two, and have a spare. Honestly, these two, I think I'm going to sell them as a pair. I'll advertise them individually, cheap, 300 quid each or something, just to get rid of them. I'm just done with chasing problems. I really was tempted. Last night, funny enough, I was thinking, should I switch the stator, the CDI, and the stator, the CDI, and the coil, and the spark plug across, and see if that solves our issue? We'll know immediately, because that right now won't have spark. I was genuinely thinking that, because we do have a second bike here that could be something. Basically, I can use the parts from here, so I could try the CDI first, does that spark come back? Try the spark plug first and the coil, does that spark plug come back? Really, why I've got them both here, I should do that, because it's kind of, it feels a bit silly not. But actually, the other part of me wants to just get on with making one good bike. I'm going to think about that tonight. I'm going to think about that. Do I do that? Because there is a second bike there. It's a newer model. It's a salvage, so it's a category N. But there is a second bike there that's worth something. So it might be worth using this to chase the issues on that, and then having that would be kind of the best profit for me. I'll think about that. I think that'll be quite a nice thing to do tomorrow. What would you start with? The CDI? Well, no, immediately we'd put the key in, we'd turn it. It would have no spark. Do we swap the spark plug first itself? See what happens. Do we swap the coil then? See what happens. Swap the CDI, see what happens. And then we go all the way down to the stator. My biggest concern is that we get spark back, but then we don't know if it's consistent. But if that's the case, I would just need to remember and and kind of work on it over the next few weeks. But this sounds beautiful. It's low on fuel actually, isn't it? Yeah, this one's in good nick. Yeah, I think I'd be nuts not to use these parts to just find out what's wrong with that one, and then I can absolutely just order the right part for that bike, because we've got enough parts to put it together. Someone will get a £700 good bike then, at least, wouldn't they? I'll think about it. Right, this is where I am with the tank. Fiberglass, I've sanded it down. I don't care about the bottom ones, they can be thicker. Side ones are sanded down. I'm going to use the putty as well because it's warm today, so I'm going to mix up the putty. The side ones I'm going to put on quite thin because I'll be sanding it back down. Under ones I'm happy to go thicker and for it to look rougher because I'm not too fussed about that. I really do think we solved our problem here though. I'm going to do the putty stuff now. Put it on. I'm sure I'm going to be terrible at it. I'm going to wear gloves. But I think this tank will be good. I think tomorrow I'll be able to put a coating of paint. I mean, I am wondering, do I need to pressure test it? It really looks good to me. So I put the glue in the hole first. Then I layered fiberglass over. I mean, I could layer some thicker fiberglass on using the same products. I have brake cleaned it now, so that the putty will stick. This looks a little bit, I might need to scuff that with some ink or just rub it with a cloth. What is that? That's like residue. Yeah, I think a thin layer of the putty now, and that's it. Loads on here, just thick lumps. Just make sure they're stuck down well. I might have to scuff around all of the edges even more than I thought, just to get it to stick. Yeah, and I've done that quite well here, so it will be easier here. Everything else I've started scuffing and roughing up and taking high areas off, and then I think it will be ready for a matte coat tomorrow, and then next weekend 2K. I'm going to look for the proper 2K in matte if possible, or satin at worst. Ideally not gloss. Although I think if you gloss it with that stuff and you scuff it a touch, I think you might get your matte finish, but I kind of don't want to mess with all that. That's right.
Nobody uses them, except for, well, it was, for me it was Renault's.
Yes.
Used them.
And very recently I had to buy a 7 spanner, or yeah,
A 7
for
mil
batching.
spanner.
Yeah, 7 mil. Yeah, very recently. It says you should really pack it.
To not use carb cleaner on my brake, or should I get some proper brake cleaner?
You should use brake cleaner on brakes.
Right.
Yes.
Have you got some brake cleaner?
Yeah.
Have a shot on.
Here you go.
At the front, they've pushed back in,
Yeah.
and then the back two, if that's what it is, or the top two,
Yeah.
they're solid in the house.
Remember though, they may be solid because you've compressed the fluid now back to the top.
All right, it can be referred the holding them.
Yeah,
Still.
I was beating a caliper years back, using every tool I had on it, hours, and then I realised I'd left the cap on, and I was pushing against fluid. Right, this is my last task for today. Remember, this bike doesn't start on the button. Press to start, it doesn't start, right? Look. Nothing. If I remember rightly, I diagnosed the starter solenoid being faulty, so I've got a brand new one. I'm going to chuck it on and we'll see if we have a on the button bike. around. It's open.
No, this is recycled, so take this.
Okay.
Up it goes in the old, bloody old. Who are you? It's gone in. That's good. I'll take this one down, Dad.
It was later I read it somewhere, stages of calibration.
Yes.
And then I thought, well, maybe that's what was wrong with that RD.
Yeah.
But I
Are we back? Hey. Lovely. One starter solenoid.
So
Look
on
back. C solid. The slide is C solid. Rock solid. So let's done the rest. There's your coping, and it's going back in, and we should fire this up in a minute. So it was worth testing that it doesn't go on over here. It's quite wide out here. It's quite wide out here. I don't know why I bought this one over an original one. I'm a bit confused. I must have thought that was an original. I must have. I should have kept the original to size it up. So I need a much smaller one to go in there. Again, in the past I've cut the plastics away, but there's no point. I'll just spend a few pounds on a much smaller one. That will be.
Years later.
Hi everyone, and welcome back. I've been debating what to do with the two Sinnis Harriers, which aren't Sinnis Harriers. They're ZEN 125s, but they are Sinnis Harriers. My first thought was to make one good one out of both, and then yesterday and last night I was thinking, let's swap enough parts over to diagnose this one, because this one when running is nice. And then finally I came to the conclusion that I never at any point found the right stator for this, did I? And I can show you that. I bought two, and I thought they were 11 poles. They're GY6, so they are for that engine, but these are both 11 poles, and wrong wiring, and I needed a 12 pole. Now I thought I'd got the correct one at some point, but now I'm not sure. I'm actually going to run home just to double check that there's not a stator there somewhere. Ultimately this is where I've got to. It seems silly. That's a 2016 fuel injected bike that runs well when it's sparking. It is highly likely to be a stator issue. I just need to find the right stator for that bike. If that happens, then I just need to piece this bike together as best as I can. I will make one better bike, which will probably be the older one. The good thing about an older bike when the engine sounds that good though, is it's got history. It's been running over the years. I like that. So one, that will be a bit more expensive. One, that will be a bit cheaper, but two, that will bring in some funds over kind of what I really was going to do was scrap these two. I'm done with the scrambler. Absolutely finished with the scrambler. I'm just going to sell it for parts. I'm going to advertise it. I might just put it out today actually and advertise it and sell it for parts. I don't care. You can have it. They can have it for 200 quid. I really don't care. What I am going to do is set up the carb kits, because I don't think the carb kit failed on this bike, because we heard it running really well on the carb at one stage. I think the ECU, the wiring and everything else failed on this bike. So I do think the carb conversion works, and I've done a successful carb conversion in the past. So I am going to try and sell 1 or 2 of my kits online. Now I've got the intake manifold, which is so rare, the CG125 carb, and the throttle cable I can give as well. I'm thinking £200 for the kit. It seems a bit excessive. The kit probably costs, let me think, 35, 60, 90 quid maybe to put together. But I'm thinking no one else has done it. I'm doing the hard work. I'll throw in the throttle cable, so it really is kind of plug and play, and that's fine. My biggest worry is that someone's bike's not running well like mine. They put that conversion on and it doesn't work like mine, and then they're angry at me and the channel. That's my biggest concern. I'm gonna run home, just see if I've got this. The tank, the CD tank looks great. I really think it's done. I'm gonna sand this down when I get back. I really think it's good. I'm gonna leave a bit of a, I just want it smoother. I don't mind it being a bit lifted. You wouldn't really easily see it. So I'm just going to smooth it a touch smoother. Underneath, I'm leaving it alone. I don't care. It can stay like that. Touch smoother here. And then I'm going to use, I've only got kind of bits left of matte black, but it will be fine. I'm just going to layer it up with some matte black, ready for its 2K, its proper 2K next weekend. And then I think that will be ready. That will be ready to go. I'm sure that will hold fuel then. I really am sure, because it was kind of dripping so tiny before. Even the bits of rust in the tank was holding it. So I do think the holes are small enough to be held now. I'm kind of fairly sure. Although, how frustrating would it be if I maybe I shouldn't paint this today. Maybe I should put the tap on, fill it up with the Pepsi Max I bought, and leave it over the week to see if it weeps or not. Actually, I'm gonna do that. Wow, I'm on fire today. I'm like a hero today, doing everything right, except of course, where's the tap? Right, yeah, I think so. Let's do that. Let's pull it, and we'll pull it somewhere. We've got newspaper up there. We'll put it up there. We'll come back to it in exactly 6 days time. Has it weeped at all? If it hasn't, we'll flush the Pepsi Max out, which won't be bad for it, guys. The actual acidicness of it will be good for the rust. And then I'll do the paint. I can do it all in one day, especially if it's as warm as today.